Welcome everyone. Today we have our student Dr. Muhammad Ghani. This was his second time trying applying to multiple specialties and he matched. So we'll discuss with him the challenges that he faced and how he redid his application, how did he plan, and then tips for other applicants. So welcome Muhammad. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Pawan. It's my pleasure to be here. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experiences with you all.
Yes. So let's start with some background and where you are from and then how are you preparing for the match since the last couple of seasons and the challenges. So let's first start with your background.
Yes, so I come from Suriname, which is a country in South America. So this is technically the first question I get on all my interview because people don't know where Suriname is. And so this is a good icebreaker question for me. So it's a country in South America. It's not very known, but one medical school. And I finished my med school there in 2016. So I came here in the US to pursue my USMLE journey in 2017. And when I came here, I didn't really had much know-how how to approach these exams and how to apply for residency. So it took me a little time to complete my USMLEs. I did that and I applied in 2019 for my first cycle. Um, Unfortunately, I tried it on my own and I didn't get many interviews and I didn't match in that year. What happened in this cycle is that in March we found out that I didn't match, and then COVID happened, so everything shut down. But fortunately for me, I found USMLE sarthi, which has helped me and guided me to a successful match.
So let's talk about the last season and you've been working full time and you were building a profile for multiple specialties just because I think the nature of your work was you could get experiences in multiple specialties. So talk about how you were getting those experiences and in the multiple specialties and what drove you to drive to the specialties you applied to last season.
Yes. So when I came here to the US, I had one thing in my mind, and my goal was to always match into neurology. Um, when I came here, because it was so complex and difficult to navigate through the residency process, I applied to many programs to do clinical rotations, research, but I couldn't find any spot. And there is a company in New York that I applied to and they accepted me. So in May 2019, I started working with them. It's a big company with different multi-specialties. So I went there, I tried to get as much as possible exposure in different specialties, internal medicine, psychiatry, and neurology as well. But unfortunately, my approach was not the correct, and that's why I think I didn't match. This season was different. I think this season because I started working with Sarthi, I had a more clear framework on how to approach my application and the deficiencies that I had in my applications, how to work those away. And there are certain specific steps and strategy planning that I personally got from you and the other mentors, and that has helped me to navigate the system easily and get a successful match.
So, just to be clear, you were working full time last year and you continued with
Yes,
the same work this
company.
year.
Yes.
It's just that you probably focused your application more towards one specialty this year in terms of rotations, in terms of experiences. Is that what it is?
Yes, absolutely. So last year, because I was doing different specialties, my focus was kind of like diverted to all these different specialties. But I got the right advice to focus on the specialty that I wanted to match into, and I did that. Although it was late, but programs do understand that COVID happened, rotations were closed down, and I continued my clinical rotations up to December of last year, and I got the letter of recommendation late, but I submitted it. Even though I got it, I submitted it to the program. So the point is that have a clear goal, have a clear framework and strategy on what you want to do, and work towards that, and try to focus on one specialty if possible.
So just, so you, this season you focused on neurology and you got
Yes,
neurology experiences,
yes,
and but we still applied for multiple specialties.
we did.
Now, how would you advise students who are, probably still have some red
Confused.
flags or some issues, and they feel that, as a backup or just to be on the safe side, they should apply to multiple specialties? And you did get interviews in multiple specialties. So, what would your advice be to those students, understanding that yes, for one specialty you really have to focus, but there are these other specialties where they may be a fit for? So what should they be doing if that's the case?
Yeah. So I believe that for every individual, it's different based on their personal background and experiences that they have. But in a general way, I would say that you can apply to different specialty, multiple specialties, and get interviews, just like how I did. Um, but the focus is the best approach would be, because you cannot match into different specialties ultimately. You can only match into one program, into one specialty. So fully focus on that one specialty, but also if you think that you love the other specialties, similarly, you can also apply to those programs. I would say the best way to do this is that set up a meeting with one of the mentors, or with Pawan, with you, and go over your background and discuss what your goals are, what your aim is, and you know um, that would be a good startup to understand where you want to go. And that's what I did personally as well.
So in this season, as you were gearing towards neurology, what changed? I mean, you did rotations, and then did research also come in? How did you beef up your neurology credentials?
Yes. So my application profile it was kind of like on the average side. I didn't have like great stellar scores, but after I joined Sarthi, I realized that I have to work on these deficiencies in my application. So I tried to clear my step 3 exam. I started doing my clinical rotations in neurology, which was recommended by Sarthi as well. And it was a really good experience. I can tell you that the letter of recommendation I got from those programs really strong. And I personally believe that that has helped me over the edge to get a successful match. And then I continued doing more rotations even after the application season started, up to the end of December 2020. And that is something that people sometimes they don't really focus on, that you have to continue doing your rotations if you have a average profile, because programs look at those things. They look at your overall profile. They don't just look at your scores or your research. Getting publications is definitely a good thing, but it's not the only thing that you should have on your profile.
Okay. So, as you were gathering these experiences, step 3 and rotations in neurology, and then came the interview season. So, how did you prepare? How was our service useful to you? And what were some of the things you may have done differently from the previous seasons?
Yes. So if I have to compare my last season with this season, is that it was a big difference in between these two. last year I didn't have my any professional review of my personal statement of my application. I didn't had any interview preparation. I never did any mock interviews. So those things were really lacking. I did interviews last year, and if you ask me now, I didn't even know how I answered those questions. So Sarthi has such a great team of mentors. You know, they guided me through each step of my personal statement, my CV, era CV, and then when interview season came, they helped me with my interview skills. They told me how to set up, how to listen to what the interviewer is asking you, and then give a appropriate answer to that, how to answer those questions technically, because you can sometimes get difficult questions, and yet you should still be able to answer those questions. And that is how Sarti has helped me with the interview skills. I believe it was like really valuable. Like, you know, without those interview skills, I would definitely have done really bad again on my interviews.
Right. So, thank you for walking us through your journey. Now, there are about 6, 7 months to go, and there may be applicants in similar to your profile. May not have
Yes.
stellar scores, older year of graduation, thinking multiple specialties. What would be some of the top 2 or 3 advice you'd like to give them?
Yes. So first of all, I would say that, you know, never give up on your dream, and never get despair. You know, there's always someone there who genuinely wants to help you, and Sorti is one of those companies that are really willing to invest in your future and your success. And joining Sorti was one of my biggest good thing that I've done. So reach out to Sarti to get help. Um, I would say never give up on your goal, never give up on your dream. If you want to match into a certain specialty, focus on it. Uh, Lay out a framework how to achieve that. Get help, get guidance, and try to work towards it. You know, it's always possible. It might take a little longer, but it's definitely possible. If you get the right guidance, the right support, it's definitely achievable.
Yeah, thank you very much. But I do want to point out that you did all the hard work as well, right? So it was your rotations and the time you put in that ultimately led you to the match. So, the hard work of the student really matters.
Yeah, so hard work is, you know, you'll always have to do hard work, but getting the right guidance, knowing where to put in the hard work, you
True.
know, is important, because you can do hard work, but if you don't know where to put the hard work in, which direction to do it, it's not going to be useful.
Yeah.
So that's where you need a good mentor and a good guide.
Well, thank you very much, Mohammed. This is very, very helpful. Hopefully, other students can take some tips and focus on the next 6 to 7 months for a match.
Definitely,
And
of course.
best of luck for your journey.
Thank you very much, Pawan. Thank you.